morning. Sorry about the delay. Call the meeting for the Economic Growth Infrastructure Committee to order at 9:36 and a half. First, we'll do the roll call.
Jackson?
Here.
Spiz?
Here.
Markham?
Here.
Powell? Wyper?
Here.
Miller?
Here. Quorum will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So now we have approval of the minutes. Is there any corrections to the previous minutes? All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Spiz, seconded by Commissioner Markham. Any discussion? All right, so we'll do voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. All right, next is the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes or corrections to the agenda? We need a.
I'll move the agenda.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Wyper, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. We'll do a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Now we'll move to our public comment. Excuse me, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak? All right, well, at this time, we will, since we're not seeing any, is close public comment, and then we'll go to the communications. Let's see here, communications. Actually, it's right here. Sorry. We have, so we just need,
Move the receive and file.
receive and file. It's been moved by Commissioner Spiz, second by Commissioner Jackson. All right, now we'll go to the regular, we'll do the consent agenda first, right?
The vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, we need a voice vote, I apologize. Communications, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, ayes have it. So now we have the consent agenda. Any questions or changes?
To approve.
It's 1A through 1D.
Yep, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Been moved by Commissioner Spiz,
Support.
seconded by Commissioner Markham. And all in favor, oh, we need a roll call on this one. We'll do a roll call.
Jackson?
Yes.
Spiz?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Powell? Wyper?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Motion carries. All right, we'll move to the regular agenda. So we'll need item number 2. We need a motion for the Department of Central Services, Oakland County International Airport 2019 grant approval acceptance.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Spiz, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Good morning.
Good morning. Cheryl Bush, Manager of Aviation and Transportation, and I'm here to present a grant that we have available to us. It's been approved by the Michigan Department of Transportation for FAA funding for the design of the rehab of our main runway, 9 right, 27 left. This will include mill and fill or rehab of the actual runway. In addition, an upgrade of lighting and some taxiway connection design, removal, and replacements. Just under $400,000. We expect the project to be completed approximately October 2020, and that will allow us to begin construction in the spring of 21. And we anticipate a full grant for, well, the 90% that we typically receive. 90% from the grant, 5% from the state, and 5% matching out of airport funds.
Okay. Any discussion? Just had a quick question, just curiosity, this being new to me. Who does the work for all the funding? Like on the lighting, the improvements?
Who does the actual construction?
Yes.
It will go out to bid.
Okay.
And we have an engineering company that leads us through that process.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
See any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Markham?
It's not so much a question as just a request or statement that as we move forward bidding this and designing this, I want us to be sure to be as environmentally sensitive and also as energy forward thinking as we can be for things like lighting and so on. What are we doing to drive down our energy costs in operating this airport? And I hope we are putting this together with that in mind.
Sure,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I guess just to add to that comment, I believe the airport is rated already as energy efficient, isn't it?
The terminal building, each
Yeah.
individual project stands on its own merit though.
Okay.
And we are looking for high-intensity lighting and LED lighting, but some of that is not available or approved by the FAA yet, so we're waiting on some of those advancements before we can actually go to that level of construction.
I'm glad you're looking and aware. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You answered, I was gonna ask the question if that's rated by the FAA yet, because I know it's special lighting and
Yeah, it's not there yet.
other circumstances. Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the roll, please.
Spiz,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Wyper,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll move to our second agenda item, Department of Information Technology Comprehensive IT Services Interlock Agreements.
I'll move it.
It's been moved by Commissioner Wiper, support by Commissioner Jackson. Good morning.
Good morning. Mike Tim, Director of IT, and this is one of our standard interlocal agreements. We use a common template that we've reviewed before. This is for District Court number 10, or 10th District Court in Battle Creek, and they're signing on for online payments and over-the-counter payments.
Okay. Any discussion? With, I just have one quick question. With more comprehensive contracting agreements coming on, are we still working on like the percentage for Oakland County? That's gonna help us drive down the cost and stuff?
The financial analysis, yes, and so we'll work back that with you as well as on a quarterly basis when we come in. I believe, I don't know if it's next session's meeting, where we bring in our quarterly bill for the transfer of allocation. We'll also bring in a report that I had presented once before, because it updates, obviously, as we bring in these new agreements and the renewals of all of the interlocal agreements that we have, because there are a couple hundred that are in place, both in county as well as out of county.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Markham,
Yes.
Wyper,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I will say, I have been hearing the blockchain a lot on my travels.
Yeah, it's a good buzzword right now.
Right. So then we'll go on to the next agenda item is number 4, Water Resource Commissioner, Village of Beverly Hills Sewer System Operation and Maintenance Agreement.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Spiz, supported by Commissioner Markham. Good morning.
Good morning. Tim Prince, Chief Manager for the Water Resource Commissioner's Office. With me today is John Bash, Senior Attorney for Water Resource Commissioner's Office. So as you know, our office operates and maintains many of the local water and sewer systems in the county on behalf of the local communities. And we've been working with Corporation Counsel to update the existing agreements that we have in place right now. We've got 13 new agreements in place already, so we began this process about 1.5 years ago, and we've worked through 13 of the communities and have those agreements in place. Today, we've got another 8 agreements that the next several agenda items are these types of agreements that we'll be presenting to the committee. This first one is for Beverly Hills Sewer System Operations and Maintenance Agreement to operate and maintain the Beverly Hills Sewer System. It replaces an agreement that was executed back in 1992. And we also operate and maintain their water system, but we're currently reviewing that scope of work and working with them to button that down before we bring that back to the committee. So today, we're only going to bring you the sewer system. On a later date, we'll come back with the water system. So with that, if there's any questions, we'd be glad to try and answer them.
Any discussion? Commissioner Wiper?
So they're 10 years, and with the renewal for 10 years, will the when the time
Yeah,
for
it's-
renewal will still come through this committee?
The way the contracts read, they automatically renew unless there's a question that comes up by either party. So I don't believe the intent would be to bring them back unless that's something that this committee would request us to do.
We'll get notice.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Powell,
Which item are we on?
Number 4.
Item 4.
Oh, yes. I don't know.
Wipers,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes. Motion carries, all right. The next agenda item is number 5, Water Resource Commissioners Village of Bingham Farms Sewer System Operation and Maintenance Agreement. We have a motion? It's moved by Commissioner Wiper, seconded by Commissioner Jackson.
So this agenda item is for approval of the Bingham Farms sewer system operations and a maintenance agreement. The existing agreement for Bingham Farms was executed back in 1974. So it's a little bit older than Beverly Hills and definitely needs to be updated.
Any discussion? All right. Call the roll, please.
Wipers,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes. Motion carries. Next agenda item number 6, Water Resource Commissioners Village of Bingham Farms Water System Operation and Maintenance Agreement. We have a motion? First been moved by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Spiz.
So this agenda item is for the Bingham Farms Water System Operations and Maintenance Agreement. Existing agreement was executed back in 1973. This is a new agreement to replace that.
All right. Any discussion? All right, call the roll, please.
Jackson,
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Wiper,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes. Motion carries. Next agenda item is number 7, Water Resource Commissioners, Village of Bingham Farms, is it Len?
Yes.
Woodland Pumping Station and Retention Basin Operation and Maintenance Agreement. Motion? It's been moved by Commissioner Spiz, second by Commissioner Powell.
So this is a little different than the water and sewer agreements that we've been talking about before. This is actually a stormwater system. And back in 1996, we had already been operating their water system and the sewer system. A new subdivision came in, and part of the development was this stormwater pump station. It's a relatively small pump station. I think the annual revenue requirement is only like $3,000 or $4,000 a year, so it's a very small pump station. But since we were already doing their water and sewer, they also asked us to maintain this pump station. So this agreement goes back to 1996, and with all the rest of the agreements, we've established a new agreement for the work that we're doing for them there.
Any discussion? First, I'll make a correction. I made a mistake. It was Commissioner Wiper, not Commissioner Spiz. And then the retention basin, is it the same retention basins that are along the Rouge?
No, this is just a very small holding tank for some stormwater
Okay.
that comes in, much different than those basins.
All right. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Spiz,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Wiper,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
motion carried.
Motion carries. Next agenda item is number 8, Water Resource Commissioner, Village of Franklin Sewer System Operation and Maintenance Agreement. We need a motion? Moved by Commissioner Spiz, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Good morning again.
Yes. So this one, this agreement is for the Village of Franklin sewer system operations and maintenance. The existing agreement was executed back in 1990. This system's a little bit different than the rest of the sewer systems that we operate and maintain. Most of the other systems are gravity systems, so flow comes from the house, and by gravity it flows into the system, and then it takes it away by gravity. So the flow is moving downhill essentially. In this case, we call it a pressure sewer system. So every home that is served by this system has their own pump station, sort of a mini lift station that pumps the flow from the home up into the system. And then the combination of all these pumps push that flow through the system where it discharges by gravity out into the Evergreen Farmington system. So a little bit different because of all the different stations that actually the county owns that are on private property. But with that, if there's any other questions, we'd be glad to try and answer them.
Any discussion? I just have a quick, so you say every house has a pump. So is that like kind of like a sump pump type deal?
It's actually outside of the house, the
Right.
house, yeah. And it's typically installed underground, so it's gravity fed into the pump, and then the pump lifts it up. So depending on the depth of the basement, those kinds of things, it can be anywhere from 10 or 15 feet below grade to 5 or 6 feet below grade. So it varies from house to house depending on the size and that kind of thing. But
Commissioner Wiper?
You said the county owns the pumps,
yes,
and they're on private property?
yes. There's a pretty sophisticated alarm system for all these pumps too, that essentially alarm if there's any problem with the pump, whether the power goes out, whether the amps are going up, or whether there's a float in there too, the level is getting too high. So we provide 24/7 emergency response for the pumps too.
Any other discussion? I just, so do we maintain the pumps as well, or is that on the resident?
No, that's part of the system cost.
system, okay.
Yeah.
I just asked you, my dad's a plumber, retired now. I dug a lot of basements in my time.
Yeah. So the only time the resident would be responsible if they're negligent for the system itself and they're putting something down their sanitary sewer system that shouldn't be going down there and it causes a problem with the pump that's not normal wear and tear.
Okay. If there's no other discussion, call the roll, please.
Markham,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Wiper,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes. Motion carries. I just want to add the items 4 through 8, those are all in my district, and I was at all the meetings for them, and they're very appreciative.
Oh,
of
good.
the service that we offer them. So next agenda item is number 9, Water Resource Commissioner, City of Lathrop Village Sanitary Retention Tank and Grinder Pumps Operation and Maintenance Agreement. Moved by Spiz, seconded by Jackson.
So this is a brand-new agreement. We have not operated this system in the past for Lathrop. It's for a sanitary sewer retention basin and pump station. And essentially what it does is during rain events, Lathrop Village isn't a combined system. It's a separated system. But during rain events, they have a lot of sump pumps that are connected to the system and other inflow and infiltration from the rain that gets into the system. And so during wet weather, there's not capacity to put all that wet weather flow into the system. So this tank stores that excess flow until the rain subsides, and then it gets pumped back into the system. So this agreement is for us to operate and maintain that system, and again, primarily during wet weather events is when it's operated. And we started discussions with the village probably about 9 months ago or so. They approached us to go ahead and take on this additional responsibility. Obviously, we do this in a lot of other areas of county-owned basins that we operate. We've got the expertise to do it, so it's not a big burden on us, and we're glad to offer that service to them.
Any discussion? Commissioner Wiper?
Did they had a department that ran it, and then?
Well, they don't have the manpower is the biggest problem, and they don't have the manpower and the expertise, and they had actually village managers were actually running it for them. They have public works staff, but again, staff that aren't well-versed in this kind of facility. So it was really something that probably needed to be done, and they pulled the trigger to make it happen.
Any other discussion? Just, I have one quick question. When we take over a new agreement, I'm sure we inspect everything. Do we have to make sure they bring it up to our standards, or do we take that on and just charge it to them?
No, in this case, there were some deficiencies that we identified, and they actually agreed to step up to the plate and get those fixed before they turned them over to us. But otherwise, this particular system was in actually pretty good shape.
Excellent, thank you. Any other discussion? Commissioner White?
But the cost of all that's part of their enterprise, right?
Yes,
So-
yes, yeah. They also, when we start these new agreements, they give us some money to sort of, to seed that fund, because we can't start hitting expenses without money in the fund. So we estimate what that money, how much that should be, and that's deposited into the fund, and then that's sort of the starting point going forward.
So I had one more question. So they just kind of front load the funding, so if they take over, does that mean they're a month ahead? Is it like, is that the kind of way it is, or is this just for any incidentals?
No, we try and get at least 3 months worth of operating expenses, what we try to get, so that as those invoices start coming in, we have somewhere to cover them.
That's great, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Powell,
Yes.
Wyper,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Markham, Miller,
Yes, motion carries. Next agenda item is number 10, Water Resource Commissioner, City of Orchard Lake Village Sewer System Operation and Maintenance Agreement. We have a move by Commissioner Wyper, seconded by Commissioner Markham.
So this is for approval of the Orchard Lake Sewer System Operations and Maintenance Agreement. It replaces an existing agreement that was executed back in 1992.
Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, call the roll, please.
Jackson,
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Wyper,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes. Motion carries. Next agenda item number 11, Water Resource Commissioner, City of Orchard Lake Village Water System Operation and Maintenance Agreement. Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner Spiz.
So this one's a little bit older than their sewer agreement. It dates back to 1984, and so we'll be replacing that agreement.
Any discussion? Commissioner Wyper?
Every one of these agreements had a note about the insurance, and I remember in
Yes.
past discussions, you guys have gone through all the insurance.
Yes.
Sometimes the community maintained insurance, and now they're joining our insurance? Is that-
Yeah, so there's two types of insurance that we typically review in these agreements. One is the property insurance. So particularly on the sewer side, there's a lot of lift stations, pump stations that, again, typically are covered with property insurance. So we'll meet with those communities and say, would you like us to continue carrying it, or would you like to pick it up? And just make sure that we're reconciled as far as who's gonna take care of the property insurance. And then the other insurance is public officials liability insurance, and then general liability insurance. And again, the county's covered, so we've got, our staff is covered from a county perspective, but if something goes against that community, if there's a suit against the community or a claim against the community, we offer that same coverage to the community, and it's to their discretion. And we've pooled that coverage with all the different communities we operate and maintain. So from our perspective, it's a very reasonable premium that we offer to the communities. Most of them are taking us up on it, with a few exceptions.
Any other discussion? I'd just like to say, my understanding was, I appreciate you guys going through and redoing the contracts, because I heard they were like 3 pages long back in the day, and I took time to cover everything, so it wasn't just for interpretation. As being a contract negotiator, I appreciate that part. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, call the roll, please.
Spiz,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Wyper,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We have our next agenda item, which is the Economic Development and Community Affairs Resolution approving the provisions of the Brownfield Plan for the 50 Wayne Development, City of Pontiac. It's been moved by Commissioner Powell,
Yes. Sorry.
seconded by Commissioner Space.
Good morning.
Morning.
Dan Hunter with Economic Development Community Affairs. Brad Hanson would normally be here, but he's on vacation this week, so it's my pleasure. to present this wonderful project to you. This was approved by the County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority on the 20th of May, and then on the 28th, approved by Pontiac City Council. This is about a 6,700 square foot building in downtown Pontiac. Been vacant since 2014. Previously, it was offices for Consumers Energy and United Way, and it's a fairly old building, historic building. Developer is looking to spend about $4.5 million in redeveloping this. It's a 4-story building. The proposal is it'll be mixed use. The first floor would be retail and or office space. And floors 2, 3, and 4 would be loft apartments. The capture amount is from the county, it's in the resolution, about $36,000 over a 26-year time frame. Looks like a really solid project. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any discussion? Commissioner Powell?
Do you know when they plan to break ground
I think they're looking to get going this fall.
for the Brownfield Park cleanup? And then do you know when they're gonna break to start building?
They're gonna use the building. There's
Oh, they're using it, okay.
there's some demolition, some asbestos removal. But they're hoping to get started this fall.
Okay, and the total projection of completion, you know, or about what, a year?
I think it's late next year or early in 2021.
Got it, okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Markham,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Wypert.
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. I will say there is a public hearing will be held
Yes.
July 18th.
One more question, I'm sorry, to him. Does anything else gotta go before city council, or we're done? It's like we can move forward?
I'm not sure. They may have some site plan approval.
Oh, okay.
Just for the building details on the inside.
Oh, okay.
But in terms of the brownfield, it's complete with the city.
Okay, great.
And, yeah, that's a good question.
You know what I'm talking about. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so there will be a public hearing, so that would be the last thing held on July 18th, 2019 at 9 a.m. at the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Oh, I'm sorry, 9:30. Board of Commissioners Auditorium.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we have our next item. Yes,
Somebody
Is,
walking in the door,
is a presentation.
Jennifer
on the
Llewellyn.
Update.
So maybe we'll bring it up on the PowerPoint, and perfect timing, Jennifer.
Right on time.
Very efficient. Catch your breath.
Yes, thank you.
And it's ready to go. Thanks, Pam.
All right, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
My apologies.
So this would be part of continuing information for the committee in terms of some of the work that goes on in economic development and community affairs. Workforce development is a really key part of that. We work every day with Jennifer in our Michigan Works offices, certainly on the business side. So with that, why don't you go ahead and through the PowerPoint?
Great, great. Well, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here this morning and provide an update of the exciting things happening in workforce development. This slide here shows the 16 workforce development boards that are across the state. As you can see, Oakland County is letter O. Hold on, catch my breath. I literally ran in here. Letter O, we are the last single county workforce area in the state. And that's an important item for us to recognize, because under the previous administration, under Governor Snyder, there was a consolidation of workforce areas. And so many of the areas were forced to merge there was an effort to merge Oakland, Macomb, Wayne County, and the city of Detroit into one workforce area. And we spent several years fighting that off. So we believe that that idea is over, but it's an important thing that we work very closely to make sure we're meeting performance, that we are fiscally responsible, and that we are a leader across the state in workforce initiatives to prevent that merger from happening. It was 25 workforce areas, we're down to 16, and we are co-governed by the Workforce Development Board as well as County Executive Patterson. We have an advisory council called the Career and Educational Advisory Council that provides advisement to the Workforce Board, and we also work regionally with SEMWAC, which is the Southeast Michigan Works Area Consortium, and the Workforce Intelligence Network. And those are, thank you both. Those are our regional efforts around workforce development to ensure that the Michigan Works agencies, the community colleges, the universities are all working regionally to address workforce development needs. So we are part of a regional effort when it comes to grants or initiatives, outreach to businesses. There's coordination across Southeast Michigan to ensure that we are working closely together. So here in Oakland County, we have currently seven American Job Centers, which is the national brand for the Michigan Works agencies. In Michigan, it's Michigan Works, but in other parts of the nation, they have different names, obviously. So they made an effort to brand all of them as American Job Centers. We average about 150,000 visitors a year across Oakland County. That goes up and down depending on the economic conditions. Obviously, through the downturn of 8, 9, and 10, that was close to 500,000. I mean, it was astronomical during that time. We did just close last week our Waterford office. That was the decision of Waterford School District, who's the fiduciary of that center and has been for 40 years. So that was a difficult decision. But to counteract that, we've secured a new center also in Waterford with JVS Human Services as the contractor. And that center will be opening sometime this summer. And then we had scheduled 2 years ago to close our Highland office. We've decided to keep that open until September so that we can get that new Waterford office open. The Highland office is quite small. It's only about 4 staff. They don't see too many customers each year, but that Waterford office will be moving a little bit more west to make sure that we're meeting the needs of those individuals. We had a Ferndale office as well. We did close that office 2 years ago now. And difficult decision, but as you can see, we were pretty heavy in the south end, southeast corner of the county, and we've lost $13 million in federal dollars since 2011 because of the great economy here in Oakland County. So we had to make a tough decision to reduce the number of brick and mortar locations and look at how we can use technology to better serve our customers. And so that's pretty close to what we will look like minus Highland and moving Waterford a bit west by the end of this year. So we get a lot of questions about how we're funded, and this is a lot of acronyms in different language, but we are funded, our department entirely 100% through federal and state grants. So each one of these grants has a different population that it serves. Our customers don't know the difference though. That's our goal, is we're here to help you. We're here to provide you tuition assistance, we're here to provide you job search assistance, but they don't know which one of these buckets we're paying for their training out of or helping them out of, because that's our responsibility, is to help them, not put them in a bucket of what they qualify for. So our largest program is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. That's probably about 60 to 70% of our funding. It's federal funding through the U.S. Department of Labor. The PATH programs are our programs that provide support to individuals who are receiving cash assistance through DHHS that have eligible dependents. They are required to report in person to a Michigan Works office anywhere from 20 to 40 hours per week to look for work in order to maintain their cash benefits. We also provide them support with transportation, child care, or other needs that they might have to land a job or keep a job. We provide a foster youth program to foster youth to get summer work experience. Our trade adjustment assistance program is kind of our Cadillac of job training programs. It covers 2 years of fully paid schooling, tuition, fees, books, supplies, you name it, it covers it. And that program is for individuals that lose their jobs due to free trade or foreign competition. And then the balance of the programs, ES and RECE is for our general public, so anyone who wants to come in and use the centers. We do operate the food assistance, employment, and training program as well, so these are for individuals who are receiving food assistance or SNAP benefits. And if they're between the ages of 18 and 49 and receiving those benefits and they're not working, they're required to work with us to maintain those food assistance benefits. And then we have other grants, like a dislocated worker grant right now, where we're supporting individuals laid off from the retail industry. And we have an America's Promise grant to retrain workers in robotics and automation. So it's a whole lot of things that happen in one location, a lot of coordination from our fiscal team, and a lot of compliance. Go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna mention the rapid response is when there's a significant layoff. And so there's a team of state and Michigan Works folks that go out and meet with the company to talk about the resources that are available. Oftentimes that can be, ooh, we know some companies that are hiring over here, you're laying off, let's meld that together. So
Yeah.
I know that when Chrysler was going down among others, that was a huge effort, the rapid response.
Yes, yeah, so 2008 through 2010, I think we had almost 200 rapid response events where we were coordinating those activities with businesses. And we've been quite busy the last 2 years in the retail sector between Toys R Us and Carson's and Payless and Dress Barn. Our team is deployed out to each one of those locations to support those workers and help them make a transition. These are other funds that we have available primarily through state funding. The Going Pro Talent Fund, formerly known as the Skilled Trades Training Fund. I have some slides on that, so we'll get to that. Same with Business Resource Networks. We have an apprenticeship success coordinator on our team at Oakland County who's responsible for working with labor partners and community colleges and businesses to help them launch apprenticeship programs or maintain apprenticeship programs. I have some slides about our Refugee and Immigrant Navigator program, and then Integrated Education and Training is a partnership with Adult Education, where we can provide individuals who are in adult ed, whether it's ESL, GED, or high school completion, we provide them career training while they're in those classes. So instead of it being consecutive, it's at the same time, and that has been a successful program as well. I hope you're all familiar with our apprenticeship guide. 60 occupations, there's 19 new ones in this guide. We still have about 5,000 of these in the basement, so if you would like to share them, please let me know. I will get a case to you. As you can see, it expires in 2019, so we're eager to get rid of them so we can start working on the 2020 edition. We've distributed well over 10,000 of them now to high school students, parents, counselors, and anyone who is interested in having some. I mentioned our apprenticeship success coordinators. So all of our partners, Oakland Schools, OCC, the Department of Labor, they work closely. They all have apprenticeship success coordinators. Just in the last year, we've met with over 260 companies to help them launch or learn more about an apprenticeship program and how they started. That's very overwhelming for a business. They don't know where to start. It's overwhelming to start with the U.S. Department of Labor. So they start with us and we facilitate that process for them. Each November, the third week of November, is National Apprenticeship Week. So this past November, we had about 80 companies and partners that attended an event at Oakland Community College, and we had some great companies. Letica, Broja, Henry Ford gave their testimonials as to why apprenticeship works, and they have brought their apprentice with them, and that was really powerful for the student to share their story. We declared Oakland County Apprenticeship Week that week, and we're in early conversations right now for this coming November, so hopefully you'll join us at our event in November. We launched the first medical assistant apprenticeship program in Southeast Michigan just last year. just graduated our first cohort of about a dozen students. About half of them that were at OCC and half at Henry Ford, and it's in partnership with Henry Ford College. We covered 100% of the cost of their tuition. Henry Ford covered the costs of their wages while they were in training. And we're preparing to launch our second cohort, and also in conversations with other health systems to expand the apprenticeship program there as well. Our toughest battle is how do we engage IT companies in apprenticeship? When people think about apprenticeship, they think of plumbers and pipe fitters and operating engineers. The IT world doesn't think in the apprenticeship mind yet, but we're getting there. So we've partnered with Tech 248, the county initiative around IT, and the Workforce Intelligence Network on a model called Apprenti, which is a virtual model of apprenticeship where companies can select their apprentices through an online portal and launch into apprenticeship training and have the learn and earn model in the IT sector. We've signed our first company, I think it's FEV in Auburn Hills is our first company. So when we say the progress is slow, it is, but we're getting there. I think you're all familiar with Oakland County Manufacturing Day. We're in our fifth year and or fourth year. And it started in 2015 with, I think, 200 students and 10 companies. We're well on our way this year to over 1,000 students. Our goal is 50 companies, and this is a partnership with Michigan Works, OCC, Oakland Schools, and Oakland Community College, and the county. We just found out that we are the Best in Category Award winner for NACO for the employment and training, personnel employment and training category. So we'll be receiving that award this weekend. Hopefully we'll see some of you there. And very pleased with this event and how it's grown over the course of the years. The students get to tour the manufacturing facilities. They get to see that it's not dirty or old. They can touch and see and feel what it looks like to be in an advanced manufacturing location. MyTradeSchool.org is the county's portal to help encourage students and parents and counselors to explore career in the skilled trades. A great website, a lot of interaction. We get a fair amount of traffic to that website. We're planning on promoting it more over the course of the next few months, but a great place for folks to learn more about the skilled trades activities. The skill needs assessments, these started in 2009 with emerging sectors. These are our surveys of businesses across the county to learn more about what jobs are in most demand and then what knowledge, skills, and abilities are needed to be successful in those jobs. So our most exciting was our connected mobility study, because it's just a whole new world for us in workforce development. And actually we learned from that study that the number one in-demand job in connected mobility isn't even a job title that exists. So it's a hybrid of an electrical engineer, a software engineer, with a little bit of mobility sprinkled in. So we actually had to name the job title for the report with feedback from the businesses because it didn't have a name. So these reports have been presented to the community colleges, the universities, and the private industries in the area, or private educational institutions in the area, and some of them have already started changing their curriculum based on the outcome of this report. My Career Quest Southeast, so last November 28th, we launched on our first My Career Quest event. Exciting and terrifying. We had about 10,000 high school students that came to the Suburban Collection Showplace in Novi. They toured 4 different industry sectors, construction, IT, health sciences, and advanced manufacturing. We had great representation from labor, education, business. We're brave enough to do it again. On November 8th of this year, we have 6 counties that are participating. So again, another great regional event of how we're working together. Oakland County is the lead on that event. Last year, the Board of Commissioners did kindly support with a $5,000 grant to Oakland schools to offset transportation costs for high school students in Oakland County. If you're interested in that again, we would welcome that. It was very important for the schools to have some support so that transportation wasn't the issue that prevented them from participating. If you want to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, we're there, but we're expanding by 60,000 square feet this year. and adding a little bit more room in our construction exhibit, which was phenomenal last year. We're struggling a bit with sponsors for this year. We need to raise $250,000 for this event to be successful. So if you know of any businesses that are interested in either participating or sponsoring, please let me know. We would love to have them. Our PLC robotics technician program, as you know, you're all seeing the headlines about robotics and automation being the wave of the future. We've all been to McDonald's now and Taco Bell where you put your own order in. And in response to that, we received a $775,000 grant to train workers in robotics and automation. So we are on, I think, our 5th cohort now of students at Oakland Community College. It's a 15-week program. It costs about $8,000. We cover 100% of the cost of that through this grant. And as you can see, our placement rate is quite good for this program. So 76 of our 90 students have already been placed. About 76 have got credentials and completed training. About 46 are already employed with a decent hourly wage of $17 an hour, which breaking into a new occupational field is quite good. And we braid those dollars so that screen earlier that had all of the different grants, that $8,000 we might cover with 3 or 4 different grants for that person, and they don't even know that. They just know that their $8,000 is paid for this program. We're launching another cohort of this at the end of August. So we'll be hosting information sessions in the next couple of weeks if you know of anyone that might want to make a career change. We've also launched a new CNC training program. This is brand new. We're starting our first cohort, actually I think today. We have 12 students, and this is in partnership with OCC. It's a shorter term training program, but they can get up to 4 of the NIMS, National Institute of Metalworking Skills, certifications under this short-term program. And this is really in response to our employers saying, we need CNC people, and so we have to create them quite for businesses. So this is our effort. It was tough recruiting in the summer. I think we learned our lesson on that. We delayed the start to the end of August. We had hoped to launch in July, but just couldn't get folks to engage in that program.
That acronym CNC, what that mean?
Computer numerical controls.
Okay.
Like the old, metal turning machining center, which is heavily computer run.
Okay.
And boy, the salaries in that field, with overtime, you're over 100,000.
Yeah, we had one
Easy.
employer that said, I want all of them when they're done. And we said, well, we can't do that. We have to share the wealth a little bit, but that's how high the demand is that the employers are saying, we want to be there when they complete this
Definitely.
program.
You could,
Makers have to have that.
yeah, you could drive by in the industry, like where all the businesses are that does that, and there's always, I've seen them for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's just growing, and a lot of it's like laser cutting, so they cut it with water. They do that too, so that's all the new technology.
It's, to me, it's a fundamental building block of the economy. We make stuff in this region, and that's a big part of it.
Makes stuff.
We do, yes. And then this Refugee and Immigrant Navigator Program, we were part of a pilot through the state. We were one of 5 counties selected to provide support and referrals to legal refugees and work authorized immigrants. So individuals that reside here in Oakland County that are either a legal refugee or a work authorized immigrant can visit any one of our centers. We have a navigator in each center, and their role is to really coordinate referrals and get them connected where they need to be connected. So it could be an English as a second language course, it could be getting connected with their local church, it could be, food assistance, maybe job search assistance, training, and then we refer them within our own center. We've had over 200 individuals in the last, I think we're on 10 months of reporting, that have been accessing this program. The number of legal refugees has dropped significantly since we started the program at the end of 2016. But this, we do receive a little bit of funding for this. It's only about $65,000 a year, and when we're supporting the rest of it through our other dollars. But we think that this is really critical to meeting the needs of our businesses and making sure that the individuals have the wraparound services and support that they need to enter the workforce. So quite successful. The majority of the individuals that we're seeing are primarily Iraqi and Syrian. And we have a great partnership with the Arab American Chaldean Council in Troy, who helps support those populations. But we're seeing an increase from the Democratic Republic of Congo and other parts of Africa. So it's a fascinating transition that's happening in that program. I mentioned earlier our retail worker grant. So we received $375,000 to retrain laid off retail workers and finance workers. They can receive up to $4,000 to be retrained in a new training program, a new industry, and receive an industry recognized credential. So you can see those are just a few of, we were really hit, the Toys R Us, the Babies R Us, we had 5 here in Oakland County. So trying to provide support to those workers, getting them tucked in with the CNC program or the robotics and automation program, or with this initiative, they can get the $4,000 to do any other occupation that's in demand. You know, we're like a 50-50 split. A lot of people, when they think about Michigan Works, they think that we just serve laid off workers or low skilled workers, but we serve the business community as well. We're close to about 3,500 companies now that we've worked with in the last 4 years, and anything from retention to training, hiring. We have a youth program where we can provide youth interns to businesses. Our focus is 16 to 24-year-olds who are disengaged. So we keep hearing about the kids that aren't working, they're not in school. That's the kids we're looking for, but they're hard to get to because they're not engaged somewhere. But it provides tuition assistance. They can go back to school and be trained in an occupation. We've had some of these 16 to 24-year-olds participate in the robotics and automation program. There's work experience and internship opportunities that are paid. But it's getting to them that is the hardest part, is how do we get them and keep them. So we've tried some new social media efforts, outreach with a lot of partners, and referrals from other agencies to get connected with that group. We also provide one-on-one assistance to adults, so folks that maybe are disenchanted with where they're at, or they've been laid off, or they're working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. We have a team of career advisors that will meet with them and enhance their resume, help them with their interviewing skills, access retraining funds, access apprenticeships. We do an on-the-job training, which subsidizes a company up to 50% for training that worker while they're new on the job. There are eligibility requirements for this program, but pretty much if you're 18, a U.S. citizen, and if you're male, you have to be registered for selective service, we can help you. But you do have to document. Involved in a lot of workshops. Each center offers a series of workshops. It does vary by center based on the community. So our workshops in Pontiac are different than our workshops in Highland or Troy. It's based on what the needs are in that community. We also have a lot of different career events. We do talent tours. We take high school students out to different companies around the county. One of our more popular is the LinkedIn Picture Day, where we can take a professional photo so they don't have that egghead on LinkedIn, and get them a professional photo to use. On-site job fairs, I mean, pretty much all the time. Our Pontiac office does a great job on the on-site job fairs. There's companies there, it seems like all the time, hiring. And then we do a lot of outreach not in the centers. How do we get to libraries? How do we get out to our adult education partners, our labor partners? How do we connect with everyone in the community? We've talked about our business services team. We have about 20 individuals that meet with companies. They partner with the economic development team to be part of the attraction to Oakland County. So when a company's looking at Oakland County, we prepare a proposal that says, this is everything that we can do for you in workforce. We offer training dollars, we can help them with their recruitment, their outreach, job fairs, and we put a value on that says this is the estimated value. If you choose Oakland County, you get $375,000 worth of value in workforce services, and those have been really important. We've had businesses say, you know, it was the workforce proposal. We also include OCC in that proposal. They have a grant called the Michigan New Jobs Training Program, and so it's a package that they get, and the companies like that. They're getting one package from economic development, workforce development, and post-secondary education. This is an overview of all the services that we provide to businesses, training support, hire support. We've done training for businesses on how to use social media for recruiting. A lot of labor market information. They want to know, are the wages I'm paying competitive? How many engineers are available in the area? We can help them get that data. If you're not following us on social media, I hope that you will. We share jobs on there. We promote various workshops and events. We'll share our success stories. We like to highlight different Oakland County companies or things happening in the county and other departments. So we have a strong presence, several thousand followers, and a high engagement level with the county's social media platforms. Our most popular initiative with businesses is the Going Pro Talent Fund. So last year we received $1.8 million to train existing employees and new hires at 68 different Oakland County companies. This is a highly competitive process. It's $30 million available statewide. I think they had $67 million in requests. So we put forward the best applications that we can and hope that our companies can get a chunk of this. We are a little uncertain what's going to happen this year. It's obviously tied up in the state budget. We're hoping to launch the program in August, but that will be contingent on what happens in Lansing. But we are planning to start hosting information sessions for businesses this August. And we usually do 6 or 8 of those at different locations, the conference center and other locations in the county to help engage businesses. We've had significant success in the program. You'll see our progress over the last few years. We did take a dip this year, which was disappointing. Quite frankly, Grand Rapids got a significant amount of the dollars. Of the 30 million, they got 9 million. So there was a bit of an uproar on equality and distribution of those dollars. So we're continuing to beat the drum on that. But we submitted 127 applications this year. All 127 had enough points to be eligible for funds. So we had 100% of that, and about 68 of those did receive funding. So our goal is to increase that again for the 2020 fiscal year. A new initiative, we've never been in the space of employee retention before. So just this year we launched Business Resource Networks in partnership with OLSA. And essentially the model is we deploy success coaches out to companies, and employees can meet with that success coach confidentially to discuss any issues that might be interfering with their ability to keep the job. It's been pretty powerful, some of the conversations that have happened so far. We had one gentleman owned a Jeep. The Jeep broke down. It was $875 to fix it. He did not have $875 to fix the Jeep. He was taking 3 buses to get to work every day and 3 buses to get home. And wasn't sure that he could keep working there. He had worked there 7 years, but wasn't sure he could stay there if this was how this was going to continue. And so the success coach was able to find an organization that provides support, financial support, and negotiated with the nonprofit organization, negotiated with the repair shop, and we repaired his Jeep, and he now keeps his job and doesn't take 3 buses to work every day. So that's just one example. We've had other testimonials where we had a gentleman, his family was in a significant amount of financial debt. And he had been with the company 17 years and was looking at leaving because he needed to find something that paid more. He was getting all this debt consolidation. He didn't know what was real, what wasn't, and the success coach was able to connect him with a reputable organization and help him get on a path to consolidate some of that debt. So we see financial literacy as an issue, childcare. So we're really trying to bring the companies together as well to say, how can our businesses work together to find supports to provide support to their workers. Whew.
So
Yeah.
that's a really good one because it helps the individual and it helps the company keep a good employee,
Yes.
which is amazing.
It is, yes. So we have funding for that program through September of next year. After that point, we're looking at a model where the companies will contribute for a shared portion of that success coach. So we're flushing that model out now. but we're excited to be in that retention space. We know that that's a challenge that our businesses have, especially in a good economy. So we're excited to have that as a new initiative.
Commissioner Powell?
So a lot of the events that you had displayed up there and that's upcoming for the fall, and just different things that you do attack as far as providing assistance to like retail workers and stuff like that. Are all those flyers available in your office?
Yes, they are.
Okay, because I'm planning to put some packets together from people in my city.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We can help you with that.
Commissioner Jackson?
Thank you for that presentation. It was very informative and very useful. I have a question in regards to the high school students. The Michigan Career Quest event sounds very comprehensive and very great toward attracting high schoolers. The only other thing that I really heard you say that focused upon were the youth intern, apprenticeship success coordinators for youth 16 to 24 of age. Are these programs focused toward maybe high school dropouts? Because you kind of mentioned they would need training outside of maybe their education.
Yeah, so our youth program is open to 16 to 24-year-olds that are, we have to have 50% that are in-school youth, so they can be in college or in high school, and 50% must be out of school. Now, out of school could be that they're a high school dropout. It could be that they're a high school completer and not engaged in any type of post-secondary education, or they were in post-secondary education and dropped out of post-secondary education. So we have a variety of, it's a large range of the population that we can serve in that program. Our primary high school programs are Manufacturing Day, My Career Quest, and our talent tours. We're really fortunate to have great partnerships in Oakland schools, so we really try to work together that we're not duplicating efforts, because they have a lot of initiatives going on as well with their summer camps and internships. So we try to make sure that we're staying in our lane in some ways, and finding different initiatives than what they're doing, and how do we complement one another.
Well, something that I see as far as Oakland County and the fact that you are a division of Oakland County government is we don't have high school internships in our civil servant positions here at the county. And we know that more and more students are choosing not to attend college, and we're kind of steering them toward the trades. But they're great jobs here at Oakland County, and a lot of people that start here retire from here.
Absolutely.
But I don't see very much promotion for these types of jobs, these office type jobs for our high schoolers. Are you looking at any programs like that? I would love to see some of our money budgeted toward a program like that here to employ high schoolers here at the county, in county government.
We could follow up with Human Resources on that. I know they have their summer program, and we did promote that, significantly through our centers and through our social media, but I don't know what their efforts were to target to high school students specifically, but I think that's something we could definitely help them with.
And lastly, okay, I'm gonna follow up on that one.
Okay.
Lastly, I didn't hear anything in regards to returning citizens,
I was just about to
people
say.
that are requiring second chance employment, or human trafficking survivors that maybe have been out of the workforce, that need a chance to get reemployed and reestablished.
Yeah, we have some great partnerships, and I failed to mention them. So a great partnership with the Michigan Department of Corrections. So we're partnering with them right now on a job fair for returning citizens, and honored to be a part of that, helping recruit employers that will participate in that job fair. We don't operate the prisoner reentry initiative. Some of the Michigan Works agencies across the state do. In Oakland County, DOC operates that program. So we partner with their workforce development team. So we share our job postings with them. We make sure that they're engaged in any of our events or activities. And if the individuals are eligible to come into the center, some of them do have restrictions, and some of our centers are in school buildings. So we work closely with the DOC staff to make sure that they are aware of which centers individuals can use and which ones they can't. We also work very closely with the community corrections team here at Oakland County. They've been a great referral source. We're finishing out the Community Ventures program for the state. So as companies sign on for the Community Ventures program through September, we share those job postings with the community corrections team, and they've been referring individuals to those companies, and we provide financial support for them.
Wonderful. Yes, you did remind me. There is something coming up in Pontiac.
Yes.
Very soon, this month, right?
Yes, I don't know what the exact date
Job
is
fair,
offhand, but
for
we're a
town
partner
citizens.
in that initiative and really helping to find companies that are willing to participate.
Okay, I lied. I have two more things. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you mention anything in regards to teachers at OSA, Community Action Agency. They're experiencing a shortage of Head Start teachers,
Yes,
and they were
they are.
talking about going into the high schools to promote that line of work. I didn't hear you mention anything in regards to early education or Head Start teaching.
Yeah, I've been working with Susan on that challenge. You know, it's a tough nut to crack, quite frankly, trying to help them find ways to promote that. We did help them apply for a skilled trades training fund, Going Pro Talent Fund grant to help mitigate that issue. Unfortunately, they weren't selected, which we were disappointed, but we're trying to find, you know, new and innovative ways to help them fill those positions. We haven't found the solution yet, but we're gonna keep working on that.
Okay, but you are working on it. Lastly, census workers. Right now, the U.S. Census is, they're holding job fairs, and you mentioned job fairs. Do you plan on partnering with the census or with our Complete Count Committee here at the county to conduct those types of employment assistance programs?
Yeah, so the US Census already has a presence, I think, at all 7 centers. I know 5 definitely, where they're hosting hiring and recruiting events right at the centers. And the last census, we worked with them even on the advertising within the centers and encouraging individuals to complete the census process. So we are engaged in that and willing to engage in other opportunities if needed.
Okay, so we also, internally at the county with our Complete Count Committee can talk to you directly about those types of gatherings and events when you
Yeah.
have those.
Sounds great.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Powell?
With the return citizen, that upcoming job fair, Janet, I can actually send that to Joanne so she can send it to everybody, but
Yeah,
for the most part, it was only targeted just for them, which is what I liked. It's not an open fair for everybody, it
Correct.
was just targeted for returning citizens. And then with the youth jobs, you know, I've been kinda tackling that with, human resource. I encourage you to please reach out to her because I didn't see anything listed for youth jobs as far as working at offices.
Within
And
the
if we
county.
did, it was like, it was a couple, it wasn't a lot like what you're trying to say it was, so I think that'll be a good thing to look at that, and then, I think that was it, I can't remember, I had one more question, but I'll talk to Jennifer later.
Well, I appreciate you coming out. Is there any other questions? Or one thing I would possibly, we could get a Going Pro presentation, because I've seen it, it's pretty awesome. And Jennifer and my local, we worked hand in hand together on a lot of things, so I've known her for a little bit. And then I do want to talk to you after about the Refugee Immigrant Navigator Program. And then just one thing to put on your radar, excuse me, is the federal government is looking to change some of the immigrant HUD funding to the counties. So I don't know if you were aware of that. It's a big
I'm not
talk right now.
engaged in the HUD portion, but, you know, we watch things that are happening at the federal level closely because our funding is primarily federally funded. But I was not aware of that.
Yeah,
so thank you.
it's talking about like families, if there's one person in the family, like say, one of their child go to school and gets a good job, no longer look at that funding, so it'll displace the family. So that would add to the workforce development and what you do, right?
Interesting, yes, yeah.
So just put that on your radar. That's
Yeah,
something
thank
to-
you.
Yeah, no problem. That's all I have. All right, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And then, before we close out, just other business is, just read a letter that I have, is to Oakland County Board of Commissioners I'm, just want you to accept the letter notification of the Economic Growth Infrastructure Committee to establish the study group of welcome in Oakland County. With following makeup, any commissioner or commissioner alternate are allowed to be, just let me know. It's not, it's a study group, so it doesn't have to be a number-wise, where you have to be there. I'll be on it as well as the organizations that assist welcoming communities, the community involvement, immigrant-owned businesses will be on it. The study group will meet to examine the issues in Oakland County and the role of the Board of Commissioners, departments, and agencies. And the study group will meet to establish the greater purpose of Oakland County being more welcoming. Thank you, William Miller. Put that study group together. If anybody's interested, please reach out. And if there's no other business, we'll call it closed. Today at 10:47.